Never let the system tell you that you're a screw up. And when I say the system, what I mean is the school system when you're a kid. What I mean is the media. And what I even could mean is your parents or people in your family if they're indoctrinated by the system, or even your friends if they're in that boat. And this is a very personal video for me because ever since I was a kid, I heard the same thing over and over again, which is that I was a smart kid, but I was in some way or another a bad kid. I didn't have respect, I didn't have focus, I didn't do my homework, and basically I just didn't give a shit about what the teachers and the school system was saying to me. And as a result of that, I was labeled as a bad kid, okay? And this isn't because I wasn't smart, it was just because I wouldn't submit to what these people were telling me to do. And this is a problem for a lot of boys, especially energetic boys, and especially smart boys. And, you know, the really sad thing is that, you know, that type of person is actually probably the person with the most potential out of basically anybody, okay? And it could be girls too, but if you're a smart person and an energetic person and a leader, you're not gonna wanna sit in a classroom and listen to somebody talk and repeat their orders and their directions and sit still and be quiet and do stuff that someone who's probably not even as smart as you, even though you're a kid, they're probably not, their IQ isn't as high as yours, do what they say for years and years and years and years. And when you get that message that you're somehow disobedient, a bad kid in some way, when you get it from your teachers, when you get it from your parents, your classmates, your peers might start to repeat it as well. It's kind of impossible for it to not sink in to some degree, even if you know that they're full of crap, right? And you know, for me, I was put on drugs in high school. I was put on Adderall, and later on I went to college as well, to university, because my parents insisted on that because they thought that's what a good kid would do, someone with a successful future would do, and they actually paid for it as well. But I basically drugged myself with Adderall and Concerta all the way through high school and university for the most part. And that's one of the things I regret the most, because that actually caused a whole lot of other problems for me as well. And before I started doing that, you know, maybe I wasn't the best student in school, but you know what I did do? I built a message board. I built a website for my school where kids could chat amongst each other. And back in the day, MSN Messenger was really popular. But my website actually became even more popular than MSN Messenger. I built websites for that. I built websites for like e-commerce at the time when I was like 12 years old, like selling my freaking hockey cards and my baseball cards at the time. All the while being told by my school, and this is stuff that like none of my teachers, except for maybe a couple, but the vast majority of my freaking teachers wouldn't have even known how to do. And meanwhile, they're telling me that I'm a screw up and that I need to sit still and shut up and behave myself and do their stupid crap. And in my whole life, there's kind of been this theme of these like dueling philosophies, right? And it's basically been a battle between submitting to the system, which included my teachers, my parents, unfortunately, and you know, certain careers that require you to get a lot of school, certain careers that are highly controlled by the government and paperwork, and then also kind of like my own entrepreneurship, my own independence. Started off with websites. Later on, unfortunately, it also involved some stuff that I'm not so proud of. But after I finished university, after drugging myself through university, I never actually went on to do what my parents or the system wanted me to do initially, which was to become a lawyer. Instead, what I did was I became a sales job, or I got a sales job, and very quickly I ended up making way more money. I was making like $100,000 a year at age 24, which none of my successful, obedient friends were doing at the time, right? So think of it. And I can look at that in my own life, but if you look more broadly, there kind of is like two paths that everybody can take. One is the path of the system, which involves education, involves paperwork, involves doing what your teachers and your parents, maybe your parents, depending on who you are, want you to do. Another one is kind of like the free market, right? Capitalism. It might be sales, it might be an internet business, it might be what I'm doing right now, which is internet marketing, okay? And this very sad thing about this is that if you don't have people in your life who are showing you that second path, no teacher knows really about business, okay, for the most part. The vast majority of teachers are absolutely fucking clueless when it comes to business. They're absolutely clueless when it comes to selling things or providing value to other people and getting paid for it in return. Literally all these people know is just do what you're told, follow the script, write the test, and then advance as far as the system allows you to advance. And if you don't have those influences in your life, then it's really sad, because I think a lot of people end up losing their potential to a large extent. And I almost personally fell into that path as well. But you don't have to, okay? The fact is, the second category of people, the people who are free marketers, business people, salespeople, whatever it is, it could be an assistant even, it could be anybody who just provides value to somebody else and helps them and gets paid for it. These are actually the most successful people in our society, and they're actually some of the most misunderstood people, not just when they're kids, but throughout their whole life, right? And if you don't believe me that these people are successful, just look at who the president of the United States is right now, okay? What does the system say about him, okay? If you listen to what the media or the so-called system said about him, you probably wouldn't even know that he's one of the most successful business people probably of all time, that he's a freaking billionaire, and that he became the president of the US on his first try in politics, all right? And this isn't to say about politics, this is just to say that being a renegade and being a free market person, an independent thinker, non-submissive, somebody who takes action on their own, does not mean you're a freaking screw up. And if you had some of these ideas planted in your mind the way I had, you need to wipe this out, okay? Like, stop thinking that just because you didn't submit to the system, you didn't do well with their little rules and all that bullshit, that you're not a successful person. Look, in my case, okay? I made way more money than all my peers who did well in school out of university. And I ended up taking a different path. I started my own business. It was very successful as well. And then I started a different business, which is now what I'm doing now, which is helping online coaches sell their product. And meanwhile, I can travel around the world. Look, here I am right now in Mexico City, probably be here for a couple more weeks. But if you need to heal some of these damaging views that have been instilled in you by the system, I would recommend that you just do that, okay? Find role models who are renegades, who are successful. If you have to, go to therapy. I went to therapy for almost 2 years. And I uncovered a lot of limiting beliefs and self-destructive beliefs that were instilled in me through no fault of my own, but actually because, in my case, my energy level and my intelligence, my potential, by far exceeded what my so-called superiors or my so-called authorities could even imagine. So therapy actually helped me get a lot of that stuff out of me. And I want to take a bit of a step back and also look at kind of like a war that's going on in the world right now. And that is the war between the system, the people who want you to follow instructions, follow rules, take tests, only let you go as far as they allow you to go, and kind of the free market renegades, all right? And you might see this play out in politics. If you turn on the news media, you're going to see a very one-sided perspective on this from the submissive, rule-following, authoritarian, communist types. And basically, if they win, they're going to try to take this all away from us, all right? Now, I'm not super political with my business or with my content, but I think this is important because this is a war that's actually going on right now. So if you're a person with intelligence, with energy, with creativity, this matters to you because they literally want to make it illegal to do what you do, okay? They're trying to ban basically everything they disagree with, okay? But most importantly, for yourself, we still live in a world that has plenty of opportunity for both sides. You know, they're trying to take it away, but arguably right now is the best time in history still because of the internet, because of certain political forces which have allowed, you know, business to thrive in certain areas. It's not perfect, but it's still pretty damn good, okay? So this is a message that I wish somebody had told me when I was a teenager. Thankfully, later on, I did get some influences of this type, and I saw that not everybody was like a perfect goody little two-shoes who who actually made it far in this world, and nor did they do exactly what the system wanted them to do. And I had these two dueling perspectives, and eventually I chose freedom, and I'm so glad that I did. Okay, so I'm telling you this right now to give you an option, because I didn't really have it. I didn't really have an option like that. Nobody really told me this until I was in my 20s. And if I had heard this in my teens, I probably would have taken a much different path and gotten to where I am now, or even further, much quicker. All right, so that's it for today.